But from here we are going to Sandbanks on a heading of 054. Then we're going to go over to U Pottery as our kind of departure from circuit point to then travel to Dorchester. We're then going to go to Corfe Castle, which is here, being wary of this danger area here. Sandbanks, Hurst Castle, and then Lee-On-Solent. And that'll do for today. Right, here we are, ready to go. Love these flags that we've got blowing in the wind. Well, the wind direction's wrong based on the windsock, but it's a nice little effect. And of course, Dunkeswell was home to a squadron of B-26 bombers during World War II. You don't even need the flaps. You can just apply full power, just long enough. Don't have to worry about the grass. Look, we're up. We're up already. We're flying. So over here is what is formerly New Pottery Airfield, which was a base used during World War II on D-Day, and most famously was the setting off point for the 101st Airborne, including Easy Company, of Band of Brothers fame. But very significant historical importance, this place, even though it's no longer an active airfield. Some sort of go-kart track going on here at the end. There's like storage containers and piles of tyres and all sorts of stuff when I've seen it before. So here we are at New Pottery, right over the middle. Dunkeswell is over there. So from here we are going to go to Dorchester. So the heading is 112. Obviously you've got to factor in wind. On whatever day you do this, you've got to calculate what the true heading is. So here we are, cruising 2,000 feet. Looking to identify where we are. We're under the weather. So we've got a river here, we've got a town, and this is Bridport. And we know that this is the halfway point really on our journey to Dorchester, on this leg of the trip. So this will be Beminster, looking at my map. We are pretty much following the track correctly. Yeah, continue following this heading and I'll see you at Dorchester. So here we are at Dorchester. We're maybe slightly right of track, but we're over the A35 road that leads into Poundbury, which you can see is kind of still being built in this photo scenery. It's one of the new King Charles's developments. More noticeable is Maiden Castle here, the Roman hill fort. Now, whenever a town or a city has the word Chester at the end, like Dorchester, Manchester, to think of a couple, it denotes that there is a hill fort present somewhere near it. So it's a little bit of a history fact for you. But now we need to think about our next heading. So Dorchester to Corfe Castle. Track is 106. I mean, it's going to be 15 nautical miles. Now, passing over urban areas, particularly built up, you have to have something known as the glide clear rule. So if we were to suffer an engine failure now, we're not going to land in the middle of the town. There's plenty of fields either side. We've got enough height that's sufficient. That's a lovely long field there. That would be a really good option. Checking this side, there's little patches, little bits. There's a nice long one there. That'd be alright. Could do a turn in for that. Another long stretch there. So yeah, as we kind of pass along, you can identify these opportunities should the engine give out. Now is a good time, having done one leg, that we switch the tanks. I can switch the fuel pump off now as well. I've not done that. There we go. So we're approaching a village here called Crossways, and this is the site of the former Royal Air Force Base, Warmwell, RAF Warmwell, which was this big. It was a big grass pan with all the hangars are along this side. That's one of the hangar buildings there that's still existing. The control tower is now somebody's house. It's there. You can see the dispersal pans, those little circular things. There's a couple of them there, and not a lot of it is left, and you wouldn't know. It's all part of this giant quarry now, which is sad because it's a Battle of Britain era airfield, like Middle Wallop as a good surviving example, because Portland was attacked quite regularly during the Battle of Britain. Stuka dive bombers in particular were involved in sinking shipping in this area, so it was a very, very crucial operating base. It's worth noting that on this leg there is a danger area 026 on the map. I had plans for like I would telephone in advance to see if it was active and if I had permission to cross it. If not, I've got a plan that at Bovington, which we're fast approaching, where the tank museum is, we then go directly east to Wareham and then south 3 nautical miles, and I've got a heading for that. So we should be able to pick out Bovington in just a second. This here is the Winfrith nuclear technology site. It has I think quite a small power station. It's an interesting little place, kind of tucked away, but there's also the Dorset Police Headquarters stuck on the end there. They used to operate their police helicopter out there until the National Police Air Service was formed and created. So here we go, Bovington. Here's the tank museum. There's the little bit out the front where they drive the tanks around. We've got the barracks. You can see the size of the area here. There's Ayers Field, which is a glider field. Monkey World is just a bit further along. It's in this area, but it's quite obscured by trees. There's the car park for Monkey World. You can see all the pathways. But yeah, there's a big sprawling concrete paved track for driver training around that as well. So there's a lot that's used by both military and police for driver training in this area, including like off-road training, which is available because there's big sandy hills to climb up and down. It's a fantastic little area. But we'll head exactly east. We'll avoid the Portland danger area. This will take us to Wareham. But yeah, this area here, there is obviously linked to all the tank activity up here with the army. There is at Lulworth a firing point. There's a couple of different firing points, and they will thump tank shells downrange at targets on these hills here, which are a bit like a backstop. If a tank shell was to go over it, it would go into the sea. So there's a big danger area covering all of this area when they're doing live firing of tank shells and munitions. Off in the distance here we've got Poole Harbour, Brownsea Island, where the Scouts was formed. Poole, Bournemouth, Christchurch. Off in the distance the Isle of Wight is just about visible. And this is Wareham as we approach. This is the Sandford end. This is Wareham, but if we follow this road in this direction, this is going to line us back onto track for Corfe Castle. Okay, so here we are approaching Corfe Castle. There's lots of campsites around here. It's a very desirable part of the world to be coming to for your summer holidays. Lots to see and do. Occasionally do paragliding off these hills, so something to be aware of. And Corfe Castle in Microsoft Flight Simulator is quite rubbish, really. If somebody could make a Corfe Castle, please, one of you fancy technical people who can build scenery, it would be much appreciated, because what's default? There's like little buildings and a house over the top of all the layers of hills and things, and even Corfe itself is a village. You know, there's lots of dark stone. It's all very fancy. It's a bit like Dunster. If you've been to Dunster Castle in that area, it's got a similar feel to it. Lovely place. But yeah, there you go. Right, we're losing far too much height here. We're going to put the power on. But yeah, there's a railway line here, steam railway service all the way to Swanage, off in the distance. But from here, we are going to Sandbanks on a heading of 054. Because of Bournemouth Airport, all of this urban area in a massive box is all Class D airspace. So you'll need to get... I'd get a basic service and get permission to fly through it, even if you're going along this coast, if you're just following the beach round. But we'll avoid it by turning out to sea and aim for Hurst Castle off in the distance on a different heading when we get there in a second. So you've got Old Harry Rocks there. Again, that's another thing that would look really good if somebody could sort out the terrain details for Flight Simulator. You've got the Needles at that end, which is the more famous end because it's got the lighthouse on the Isle of Wight, but these two bits are linked. It's that chalk cliff that's really distinctive, like the White Cliffs of Dover. And you know, if you're a geologist or something, because all of this is very sandy and sandstone like rock, but these cliffs here, that long line, I don't know what's going on over here, I'm going all over the place, but yeah, that long line, that's all chalk. Dig down, it's chalk, big chalk, white chalk cliffs, and it goes through this massive gap through to the Isle of Wight. So, heading now that we are at Sandbanks, we need to change heading, otherwise we're going to bust to Class D airspace. 085. So here we have the Needles. It's slowly loading in. It's developing some detail. But the important little cliffs here and the lighthouse model have generated, which is pretty good. Hurst Castle is on this spit, as it's known. So sea current creates the longshore drift, pushes the sand out, and creates a sandbar. if you ever get to go here, it's a nice day out, and there's sort of a Victorian battery, and there's a slightly newer one as well from World War II, and behind that there's a rocket testing station, which is pretty cool. So here we are. The auto-gen works a bit better here. It's even created the shape of the castle. Obviously has loads of gun ports all along to fire cannons out. You've got the little courtyard there, all nicely visible. So now we're not busting the Solent terminal control area. We are just outside Cowes on the Isle of Wight, and we're approaching Lee-On-Solent, which is over here. It's there, roughly. Southampton up there, obviously home of the Spitfire, where that was built. This area here, I'm sure they built seaplanes. I may be wrong. Fawley Refinery. Portsmouth, with the historic naval dockyard visible off in the distance. Now, we're going to pause a minute. We're going to have a little look at the AIP. Outside the Fleetlands ATZ, I'm sure if we go on the Lee-On-Solent website, so they've got this fancy little thing, which helps massively with regards to what you're going to fly. Now, as far as I'm aware, you can't overhead join. You've got noise abatement around this Stubbington area, Hillhead, and actual Lee-On-Solent. So we'll be landing, because of the wind, it's coming from 140, which is kind of this direction. We'll be landing with a tailwind if we came straight in from the sea. So we'll come in for a runway 23 approach, which is going to require a right-hand circuit, where we follow this kind of green belt area around Daedalus Way, so that we avoid this bit, we avoid the ATZ for Fleetlands, and we avoid all of this controlled airspace. So coming across from this direction, we'll come down to circuit height and we'll just join the downwind and come around. So identifying it from the air, there's the runway. There's the Meon river mouth. So this is where we want to start our downwind, and we're descending a little bit. Got 400 feet to lose by the time we hit the beach, really, so that we can join this downwind. Need to be at 1,000 feet. On final for runway 23. By keeping between these areas of houses, this is on base now. Flaps 1 and 2. We're just going to fly down. Wind's changed. Well, not my finest landing, but we're down. I don't know what all this squealing's about. I'm not braking. That's horrific. So that will do for today. Not a bad little selection. Hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'll catch you next time.